Chapter 25. Mutations, no question about it. I've never seen these mutts, but they're no natural-born animals. They resemble huge wolves, but what wolf lands then balances easily on its hind legs? What wolf waves the rest of the pack forward with its front paw as though it had a wrist? These things I can see at a distance. Up close, I'm sure their more menacing attributes will be revealed. Cato has made a beeline for the cornucopia, and without question I follow him. If he thinks it's the safest place, who am I to argue? Besides, even if I could make it to the trees, it would be impossible for Peeta to outrun them on that leg. Peeta! My hands have just landed on the metal at the pointed tail of the cornucopia when I remember I'm part of a team. He's about 15 yards behind me, hobbling as fast as he can, but the mutts are closing in on him fast. I send an arrow into the pack and one goes down, but there are plenty to take its place. Peeta's waving me up the horn. Go, Katniss, go! He's right. I can't protect either of us on the ground. I start climbing, scaling the cornucopia on my hands and feet. The pure gold surface has been designed to resemble the woven horn that we fill at harvest, so there are little ridges and seams to get a decent hold on. But after a day in the arena sun, the metal feels hot enough to blister my hands. Cato lies on his side at the very top of the horn, 20 feet above the ground, gasping to catch his breath as he gags over the edge. Now's my only chance to finish him off. I stop midway up the horn and load another arrow, but just as I'm about to let it fly, I hear Peeta cry out. I twist around and he's just reached the tail, and the mutts are right on his heels. Climb, I yell. Peeta starts up hampered, but not only the leg, but the knife in his hand. I shoot my arrow down the throat of the first mutt that places its paw on the metal. As it dies, the creature lashes out, inadvertently opening gashes on a few of its companions. That's when I get a look at the claws. 4 inches and clearly razor sharp. Peeta reaches my feet and I grab his arm and pull him along. Then I remember Cato waiting at the top and whip around, but he's doubled over with cramps and apparently more preoccupied with the mutts than us. He coughs out something unintelligible. The snuffling, growling sound coming from the mutts isn't helping. What? I shout at him. He said, "Can they climb it?" answers Peeta, drawing my focus back to the base of the horn. The mutts are beginning to assemble. As they join together, they raise up again to stand easily on their back legs, giving them an eerily human quality. Each has a thick coat, some with fur that is straight and sleek, others curly, and the colors vary from jet black to what I can only describe as blonde. There's something else about them, something that makes the hair rise up on the back of my neck, but I can't put my finger on it. They put their snouts on the horn, sniffling and tasting the metal, scraping paws over the surface, and then making high-pitched yipping sounds to one another. This must be how they communicate, because the pack backs up as if to make room. Then one of them, a good-sized mutt with silky waves of blonde fur, takes a running start and leaps onto the horn. Its back legs must be incredibly powerful because it lands a mere 10 feet below us, its pink lips pulled back in a snarl. For a moment it hangs there, and in that moment I realize what else unsettled me about the mutts. The green eyes glowering at me are unlike any dog or wolf, any canine I've ever seen. They are unmistakably human. And that revelation has barely registered when I notice the collar with the number 1 inlaid with the jewels, and the whole horrible thing hits me. The blonde hair, the green eyes, the number, its glimmer. A shriek escapes my lips and I'm having trouble holding the arrow in place. I've been waiting to fire, only too aware of my dwindling supply of arrows, waiting to see if the creatures can, in fact, climb. But now, even though the mutt has begun to slide backwards, unable to find any purchase on the metal, even though I can hear the slow screeching of the claws like nails on the blackboard, I fire into its throat. Its body twitches and flops on the ground with a thud. Katniss! I can feel Peeta's grip on my arm. It's her, I get out. Who? Asks Peeta. My head snaps from side to side as I examine the pack, taking in the various sizes and colors. The small one with the red coat and amber eyes, Foxface. And there, the ashen hair and hazel eyes of the boy from District 9 who died as we struggled for the backpack. And worst of all, the smallest mutt, with dark glossy fur, huge brown eyes, and a collar that reads 11 in woven straw. Teeth bared in hatred. Rue. What is it, Katniss? Peeta shakes my shoulder. It's them. It's all of them. The others, Rue and Foxface, and all the other tributes, I choke out. I hear Peeta's gasp of recognition. What did they do to them? You don't think those could be their real eyes? Their eyes are the least of my worries. What about their brains? Have they been given any of the real tributes' memories? Have they been programmed to hate our faces particularly because we've survived and they've been so callously murdered? And the ones we actually killed, do they believe they're avenging their own deaths? Before I can get this out, the mutts begin a new assault on the horn. They've split into two groups at the sides of the horn and are using those powerful hindquarters to launch themselves at us. A pair of teeth ring together just inches from my hand, and then I hear Peeta cry out, feeling the yank on his body, the heavy weight of boy and mutt pulling me over the side. If not for the grip on my arm, he'd be on the ground, but as it is, it takes all my strength to keep us both on the curved back of the horn. And more tributes are coming. Kill it, Peeta! Kill it! I'm shouting, and although I can't quite see what's happening, I know he must have stabbed the thing because the pull lessens. I'm able to haul him back onto the horn where we drag ourselves toward the top, where the lesser of two evils awaits. Cato has still not regained his feet, but his breathing is slowing, and I know he'll soon be recovered enough to come for us, to hurl us over to the side to our deaths. I arm my bow, but the arrow ends up taking out a mutt that can only be Thresh. Who else could jump so high? I feel a moment's relief because we are finally be up above the mutt line, and I'm just turning back to face Cato when Peeta's jerked from my side. I'm sure the pack's got him until his blood spatters my face. Cato stands before me, almost at the lip of the horn, holding Peeta in some kind of headlock, cutting off his air. Peeta's clawing at Cato's arm, but weakly, as if confused over whether it's more important to breathe or try to stem the gush of blood from the gaping hole the mutt left in his calf. I aim one of my last two arrows at Cato's head, knowing it'll have no effect on his trunk or limbs, which I can now see are clothed in a skin-tight, flesh-colored mesh. Some high-grade body armor from the capital. Was that what was in his pack at the feast? Body armor to defend against my arrows? Well, they neglected to send a face guard. Cato just laughs. Shoot me, and he goes down with me. He's right. If I take him out and he falls to the mutts, Peeta is sure to die with him. We've reached a stalemate. I can't shoot Cato without killing Peeta, too. He can't kill Peeta without guaranteeing an arrow in his brain. We stand like statues, both of us seeking an out. My muscles are strained so tightly they feel they might snap at any moment. My teeth clench to the breaking point. The mutts go silent, and the only thing I can hear is the blood pounding in my good ear. Peeta's lips are turning blue. If I don't do something quickly, he'll die as asphyxiation, and then I'll have lost him, and Cato will probably use his body as a weapon against me. In fact, I'm sure this is Cato's plan because while he's stopped laughing, his lips are set into a triumphant smile. As if in a last-ditch effort, Peeta raises his fingers, dripping with blood from his leg, up to Cato's arms. Instead of trying to wrestle his way free, his forefinger veers off and makes a deliberate X on the back of Cato's hand. Cato realizes what it means exactly 1 second after I do. I can tell by the way the smile drops from his lips. But it's 1 second too late because by that time my arrow is piercing his hand. He cries out and reflexively releases Peeta, who slams back against him. For a horrible moment, I think they're both going over. I dive forward, just catching hold of Peeta as Cato loses his footing on the blood-slick horn and plummets to the ground.